Folks, hello, and we are live. Welcome to the Danswers podcast. Let me just real quickly, I'm going to go ahead and start a little recording here. I hope you can hear me. Here, we're going to delete that bad boy. I'm just letting you in on the technical portions of the beautiful Danswers podcast. Check. And hello, folks, the beautiful internet. We are live. This is the lovely Danswers podcast. I am your
lovely host? I am your lovely host, Dan Donahue. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, folks. We might have to play with that one a little bit. But it's good to be here. It's good to be on YouTube. If you are in the chat, please throw something in the chat so I can see if it will appear right over here, right over my shoulder. This is the Dancers podcast. We have some new features here. I am very excited. I'm going to test one of them right now. Oh, actually, I think I messed up. Yes, folks, we already had a live mess up here, and it's only been about oh, there you go. There, okay. Well, there you are, Jace. So that's working. And then I also need to add a source here. Let's see if I can do this on the fly. Boom. Boom. We're going to browse here. We're going to find the image I was looking for. We're going to open that. Good. Okay, so this is so cool. Even though I'm bad at it, this is so sick. This is what I want to talk about today. This is what I want to speak about. Do you cook for yourself? Oh, I don't want to cover the chat up with that. God, I'm so bad at this. Do you cook for yourself, chat? That's my question for you. Do you cook for yourself? Because as many people online know, as many people on the internet know, I do a lot of cooking for myself. That's how I get the dishes that I use to build my massive media empire. But do you do it? And how well do you cook for yourself? This is what I was kind of getting at, because I realized, first of all, welcome to the Danswers podcast, everybody. I'm going to start the episode technically right now. So if you have watched any of the two or 3 minutes that have flown by, just know that didn't count. I'm not counting it, and it didn't count. This is your host, Dan Donahue. The question I'm tackling today, first and foremost, is do you cook for yourself? And if so, to what level do you cook for yourself? That's a question you need to ask. Sure, when you're at home, you might cook for yourself. But are you really cooking? Or are you heating things up to survive? Because there's a big difference between those two. There's a big difference between those two. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, me in particular, I liked to say I cook for myself a lot. The truth of the matter is, I was basically putting the kind of food that you would feed an animal into a bowl and then counting that as a day well spent. I think you can judge whether or not you are cooking for yourself based on one very important thing. What is the first thought you have when you bite into the food that you made? Really think about that. What is the first thought that you had when you bit into the thing that you made? Because a lot of people out there, the first thought they have when they bite into something they made is like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is really good. I like this. This food is good. Not me. When I bite into something that I made for myself, my first thought is, it is what it is. My first thought is life is hard. life is hard and it will scrape against the nerves and cause even the most gentle of creatures to rot and fester with maggots in the ground. This is life. This is rice with a little maybe hot sauce put on it and treated as a meal. This is what I have done to myself. But anyway, chat, I hope you're doing good. Please feel free to throw anything you want. Well, not anything you want in the chat. Don't put specific threats against the president in the chat. I mean, you can't find better places to put the no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That was a joke. Okay? That was a joke. Oh, no, I didn't mean to make another one of those. I'm having a lot of fun here, chat. I'm having a lot of fun figuring this out, trying to be better. I'm going to call this one image 2. Let's see if this works. Okay. Okay, there we go. I didn't mean for that to pop up. I should have really gotten this put together before we started today. But you know what? This is how life goes sometimes. I want to let everybody know who's watching, the 3 or 4 of you who are watching. This is how life goes sometimes. But this is actually a very excited thing I wanted to talk about on today's episode. This is an article in Psychology Today, and it is titled, Couples Have the One, Singles Have the Ones, which seems to be insulting, right? That seems to be an insult meant to hurt single people. But I did read it. I did read this article, and it turns out it's actually pretty positive for single people. So if we have any singles out there, this is actually a good thing. I'm going to read some of this article. Finding the one is widely celebrated in the United States and other nations too, which is what an interesting way to start an article. The person who wrote this, Bella DePaulo, PhD. I'm not going to make any sort of attack on this woman because she seems very pleasant. But I do have to say, finding the one is widely celebrated in the United States and other nations too is kind of a rough sentence to start an article with. Can I say that? Is it insulting? And maybe this is what I get canceled for, folks. Is it insulting to say that the sentence, finding the one is widely celebrated in the United States and other nations too, is maybe a little bit of a 12th grade attempt at starting a essay that you took Adderall to try to complete? That's what it's giving to me. Now, you don't need to feel that way, but that's how it feels for me, okay? According to the prevailing methodology, once you commit to quote-unquote the one, all of the pieces of your life will fall into place. In your spouse or romance partner, the idea goes, you have the person who fulfills all of your wishes, all of your needs, especially your emotional needs. Now, this is starting to get into polyamory territory, where I think polyamorous people, you know what? That's great. That's if that's what you're into, that's great. If you're polyamorous, I think there's a lot of people who are monogamous who will make fun of you. They make fun of you. They make fun of the way that you brag about your lifestyle. You know, if you're polyamorous, monogamous, people will make fun of you for how often you bring up polyamory. They'll make fun of you for the weird hats that you wear. They'll make fun of you for the fact that your pants are always either too tight or too baggy. I'm not one of those people. I respect polyamorous people. I respect their strange hats, and I respect the fact that they've chosen a lifestyle that's not not hyper popularized in the United States. Okay, they are in their own ways rebels. The brilliant comedian Norm Macdonald once said, "They say addiction to gambling is a disease, but it's the only disease where you can win a bunch of money, right?" And I think polyamory. I think people who are polyamorous are rebellious, but it's the only form of rebellion where you get to have sex with a bunch of people. And I know, by the way, I've talked to enough polyamorous people to know they'll come down your throat for saying something like that, because it's like, it's not all about sex, it's about other stuff too. Great. I think for a lot of the guys who are into polyamory, that is true, but you can't really depend on that. I think some of the people who are into polyamory just want to get their rocks off, and good for them. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Who am I? Am I not a human being with wants and needs and the ability to deceive? No, of course I am. Of course I am. Let's read on. You have the person who cheers you up when you're sad, calms you when you're anxious or angry, and cheers you on when things are going well. Popular songs, okay, we're kind of okay. And again, I don't want to insult the woman who is a PhD, much more successful than I will ever be in my entire life, much more intelligent than I will ever be in my entire life. I do have to say, this article really does reek of trying to reach a word count. The person who wrote this article is making fun of the fact that popular songs romanticize the idea of the one and only, with lyrics such as, "You are my everything," and "I just want to be your everything." It's kind of hard to write a polyamory love song, though, isn't it? I think as an idea, polyamory does make sense, but when put into the physical, concrete world, it is kind of hard to write a polyamory love song. You are one of several everythings to me. You are one of 6 or 7 people who are everything to me. You are the person I spend my Sundays with. You are the person I spend every other Saturday loving. Damn, that could be one right there. When I lost you, I thought to myself, I only have 4 or 5 more girlfriends to choose from. Whee! We're having fun. I love the live stream. I don't care what y'all think. I love the dang live stream. The one versus the ones, the evidence. Social scientists who have studied people over a number of years of their adult lives have found evidence that there is focus on the one among people who have become romantically partnered, of course. When couples move in together or when they marry, they become more insular. For example, they are in touch with their friends less often. They call their parents less often. That doesn't just happen early in the early throes of romantic passion. In a study that followed people for 6 years, the couples continued to be more insular 6 years later. That's very interesting, isn't it? I mean, of course, I have noticed that with my friends. Everybody has that one friend where they become single, and you have about 2 or 3 months with them when they are going to be present with you until they find another relationship. You have that one friend where they will break up with their partner. It'll be sad. You're sad as their friend. But in the back of your head, you're kind of going, it's going to be nice to see Jeff again. It's going to be nice. Oh, is that wrong? Am I wrong for saying that? Am I wrong for saying that when you are, when you're in a friendship with somebody who's a relationships person, right? There's people who are just relationships people. They're people where you go, you are meant to pair bond. You are meant to just kind of whoop. You're meant to whoop. And that's fine. That's fine. But when you go whoop, right? When you unpair bond, when you pair uncouple, those 2 or 3 months when you're single, boy, is it better to be your friend. And yes, I'm talking about a specific person. So what? So what? Results from other research suggest that people go from living single without dating to moving in with a spouse or romantic partner to having kids to becoming empty nesters. They tend to shed friends and maintain less contact with friends along the way. Meanwhile, single people are typically more connected to more different people. That's very interesting. For example, the result of several national surveys show that single people are more likely than married people to exchange moral, emotional, and practical support with friends, siblings, parents, coworkers, and neighbors. This rings true. This rings very true. When I'm single, I do feel like there's a lot more people I can reach out to, because when you're in a relationship, you really look at that person for support. You really look at that person to be the one you're connected with, right? That's just very normal. That's just how things go when you are in a one-on-one relationship with somebody. The issue with that is when things start going bad in that relationship, you have to reach back out into that pool of friends that you maybe alienated a little bit. Now, that's not saying that you have to live your life. You have to, if you're in a relationship, you got to spend a lot of time with that person. You have to love that person. You have to be with that person. But then when things start getting tough in that relationship where you just need to reach out to somebody else, there's some cobwebs on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there's some cobwebs on that phone. Sometimes there's a little bit of rust on the telephone that you used to use to reach out to those friends. And you'll give it a shot, right? You'll be like, oh well, oh hey, yeah, Paul? Yeah, it's me. Yeah. Dan, your friend Dan. Yeah. From 2 years ago when I was single, we really hung out a lot, and then I started seeing. Yeah. Well, anyway, my life is bad. My life is bad now. And the great thing about friends, this is the really beautiful thing about friendship and platonic love in general, which I think is just friendship. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know the words for things. The great thing about love, the great thing about platonic friendship is a lot of the time, those friends will still lend you an ear. Isn't that... Friendship is so powerful, man. Friendship is the buoy by which we... I was about to... What am I doing trying to go into an analogy? What... Do I think I'm smart or something? Friendship, man. It's the buoy by which the tides roll over the love that you have for... What am I doing? I'm trying to make a quote. That's the sort of blind confidence that I have that needs to really stop. I literally just tried to make a quote. I don't have the brain power for that. You ever start talking, you ever start with an idea, and then your brain just runs out? It really is like I'm trying to get a Prius to go 120 miles an hour. That's what happens when I try to do anything that requires any sort of spontaneity in terms of thought. Like I'll try to create a new thought or a new idea. It just, boy, my engine just my brain goes, Dan, we haven't read in 5 years. Why are you doing this to us? What are you doing, man? Friendship is the buoy. What a dumbass. What a registered dumbass I am. Let's continue. Single people, therefore, seem to have the ones rather than the one. Is that a good thing? Some research suggests that it is. Having the ones is linked to life satisfaction. I have emotional specialists in my life, for example. When something good happens to me, there are some specific people I go to because I know they're going to be so happy for me and so effusive. All right. Oh, so now we're throwing words at me. See, she knew I was going to criticize this article, and she decided to throw some words at me that she knew were above my pay grade. Effusive. So effusive about saying so. Chat, let's go to the dictionary. Let's define effusive real quick. This isn't this episode making you smarter, chat? Isn't this chat? I need a little bit of support here. Isn't this podcast? This is one of the most educational podcasts in the world. Expressing feelings or gratitude, pleasure or approval in an unrestrained or heartfelt manner. Effusive. An effusive welcome. Okay, I like that. Chat, effusive. Jace just said, I feel my brain expanding in real time. That's what I'm talking about, Jace. I don't have the person I turn to no matter how I'm feeling. A series of studies by Elaine Chewing or Chung, I don't know how you pronounce that, and her colleagues suggest that having different people to help you with different emotions is linked to greater satisfaction with your life. This is the kind of advice, though, that I read, and I'm like, okay, so your advice is get more friends. Whoa. What a brain buster. That's crazy. I would have never thought to have more friends. I would have never thought to just be friends with more people. Really? Whoa. You're telling me that my life would be better if I got more friends? Thank you, psychology. That's so smart of you, psychology. What next? Are you going to tell me that we were in the lab and it looks like hugs feel good? Whoa, psychology. You're so smart. It's like and by the way, I love psychology. I love therapy. I'm in therapy. Me and Kevin, we break it down, me and Kevin, we get in the lab, we cook up some hot shit, okay? When me and Kevin are together, man, we go crazy in the lab. We're like, and you're actually the problem. You know what I mean? That's me and Kevin in the lab. It's like, you're not good to your friends and they're not going to be good to you. You know what I mean? So that's me and Kevin in the lab. So I'm not anti-psychology in any way. I think psychology is great. I think therapy is great. But it's also very intuitive. Like, I don't think that therapy requires a super high level of intelligence. Is that crazy to say? Like, I think being a good listener isn't book smarts. A lot of the time it's just like feeling smarts, like emotional intelligence. That's what you really need. I don't need somebody with like a pipe to really break that. That's why it's so funny that back in the day, like, you know, Freud and stuff were these like really smart guys with a pipe, and it's like, no, I need like a chill guy in like a shirt that doesn't match his pants and shoes that don't match either, who's kind of goofy, to sit down and to listen to me. That's what I actually. I don't need a guy with a pipe to be like, seems like you want to have. No, I don't. No, can you just listen to me? That's why it must have been a bummer getting psychoanalyzed by Freud, because he was just it doesn't seem like he was really listening to people. It seems like he was just sitting there like, you should do cocaine about this, actually. I've heard all of the things that you're saying to me. Not to cut you off there, but do you think you want to kiss your cousin on the mouth? It's like, wow, Freud, you're so smart. So let's continue with the article. Having the ones may also have practical benefit. In Single at Heart, the power, freedom, and heart-filling joy of the single life. Man, we're going nuts with books, huh? We're writing, as a society, we are really writing books. I address the question so often lobbed at single people, particularly those who live alone, that sometimes seems disguised to scare them out of the single way. What will you do if you need a lot of help for a long time? That's a good question. For example, Christine was slammed by a car when she was out bicycling and was on the cusp of death. Her recovery was intense, and it took many months. Christian had no spouse or romantic partner and no kids, and her relatives lived far away. She did, though, have a devout circle of friends who were there for her the whole time. That was a good thing for her. And for other single people who have also had long-term needs for help and a network of people that cared about them. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But again, the advice there is to have friends. Chat, if I could just give you advice. Let me just give you some advice. I'm gonna give advice like psychologists give advice. If I were to give you guys some advice, it's have a lot of money. I think what would be great is if all of you just, and this is just my advice, have a lot of money, and that's it. Thank you. There is your advice. I hope you enjoy the advice. I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. It's not bad. I appreciate the writer of this article. You know, I think Bella DePaulo, PhD. Again, PhD. Bella DePaulo is smarter than me, wiser than me. This is why I think I will be stifled in my ability to ever I can't criticize anything. I find it hard, and I know a lot of people go like, "Oh, that's a good quality." It's like, not really. Like, you do want to be able to look at stuff and be like, "I don't like this. Here's why. Here's my simple opinion." At least that's how the internet works now, right? Like, the internet works in this way where you need to make a hard stand against something, and you just kind of criticize it, and then they'll come back and they'll criticize you. And then that's how life works. Thank you, LA Comedy Life. Look at this. Huh? Isn't that powerful? But I do have to say this. I have trouble criticizing things because whenever I'm in the midst of a criticism, and I do love it. I love sinking my teeth into making fun of something, folks. I mean, there's nothing better, is there? Just sinking your fangs into being righteous and pious and trying to tear down something that is probably a work that is like there's a podcast. It's very, very funny that's dedicated to bad movies, and then there's another one that's dedicated to bad books. I find it hard to fully criticize a book because it's like, well, that person wrote a book. They're better than me. You could, if you wrote a book, it doesn't mean you're a good person. It doesn't mean you're smart. It doesn't mean you have good ideas. But it does mean that you did something I can't do. And it's just it's interesting sitting and criticizing something that you can't. I don't have a PhD. I don't. Maybe I could say I'm a like somewhat of a writer, not in a way that will get me written up in Psychology Today. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to fully criticize this, but I do appreciate this article. I think what the article fails to present, what the article fails to necessarily realize, is the fact that there's a lot of people who are both single and don't have a lot of friends. What do? Where are they at? I mean, are there single people with lots of friends? Absolutely. And in fact, when you're like, when you're sitting there and you're single, your impulse is to hit up your friends. Your impulse is to go out with your friends. So it's like I can understand why it's easier. It's a lot easier to sort of, to get into that, to have friendships with people who maybe don't have a partner, where you're calling your buddy and you're like, hey, do you want to hang out? And they're like, oh, I would, but, or it's the worst when you make plans with a friend and then they try to use their partner as the excuse, and it's like, you're not, are you dating COVID? Like, oh yeah, no, I would totally go out, but the wife, she says, like, and it's like, don't, how dare you? How dare you use your beautiful wife as a way to not hang out at Buffalo Wild Wings? How dare you? How dare you use your beautiful wife, who you love, treating her like COVID-19, the novel coronavirus? Well, that is something I think that, like, because I think that the South, they look at Los Angeles and the way that we dealt with COVID, and they're like, I can't believe you guys did all that, and you guys, shut down for so long and wore masks and all that. And it's like, but what you didn't get was an excuse for everything, right? And that's pretty cool that we got that. We got an excuse for everything. Well, this was so fun. This is a great live chat. I'm glad you guys joined. I'm going to try to keep doing this on Saturday afternoons. We might play with the time there a little bit, but I'll announce it on Instagram. This is great. I hope this posts and everything well, and I appreciate you joining. Please have a good one.